Peace everyone, Unmasked here, and welcome to day 29 of Inktober. Today's prompt is double, and as you might be able to see on my paper, my sketch is rather light. I am going to be doing a alcoholic drink, sometimes referred to as a double. If it has twice the alcohol, I think that's what it means. I don't do very much drinking, so that's what came to mind because I always hear it in movies, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my markers like I have been, and I'm going to color this glass of whiskey, I guess. It's orangish looking. Anyways, I hope that you guys had a fantastic weekend. I had a blast hanging out with you. I apologize, I'm feeling a little under the weather today. So if I'm not as exciting as I normally am, then that might be the reason why. I got some tasty tea here to keep me going, and first thing I'm going to do is start sharing some of the fantastic drawings that you did for yesterday's prompt. Yesterday's prompt was gift, also known as Nugget's birthday, because Nugget is officially one year old now. So I enjoyed seeing everyone's drawing of Nugget and giving him some gifts. And yeah, another thing that I noticed about yesterday is that I had the lowest turnout of pieces. So you got to hang on with me, everyone. There's only 2 days after this. The number of drawings that I got for yesterday's prompt was the lowest for the entire month. It was only 19, and we were really close to getting 40 a couple times. I think the highest we got was 39. So let's try to double our efforts, okay? Pun intended with today's prompt. But that's quite all right. I know that you don't really want to do a lot on the weekends. You want to relax. I want to relax. Trust me, I can't wait for the next weekend where I'm not doing Inktober and I have a little bit of time. But just stick with me. It's gonna be over soon, I promise. Anyways, let me say hello to a few people in the chat. I see a bunch of you already chatting it up. Mindy, Scott, Shiny, Virginia, Olga, hello from Russia. Awesome. Good to have the Russian fans represented in the chat, so thank you. Hello, Sneaks. Barbara, Pumpkin Spice, always a pleasure. Anna, certainly love having you in the chat. Kim, Ankush, Christy, Renee, Lady Marigold, Talia, I am glad that you were able to catch today's live stream. I know that you missed yesterday's, so I'm glad that you were able to make it. I just started, and let me just, I wanted to make sure that I turned the volume down on the music. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here, if that's all right with everyone. If you guys have any questions for me, then I urge you not to hesitate to ask, because I could use a bit of distraction today. Like I said, I'm not feeling the greatest today. My head hurts a little bit. Feel a little dizzy, feverish kind of feeling. It's not all that bad, so you don't have to say too much in the chat about it, but just letting you know, if I seem a little low energy today, it's just because I'm not feeling all that well. But I am still very happy to be here with all of you. That is for sure the truth. Hello, Nick. Good to see you. I'm going to be kind of working one area at a time for today's drawing. Headed for chest x-ray. Well, I hope that everything turns out to be okay. I had to get a chest x-ray when I was younger for checking for pneumonia when I was, oh goodness, how old was I? I was probably about 10, maybe 10. Could have been 9. I'm always bad with the years, but one of those ages, I had pneumonia and spent 3 weeks in the hospital with an IV drip. It was a pretty bad case of pneumonia. It's actually kind of a funny story. I guess since I'm feeling a little sick today, talking about my past illness seems slightly appropriate. But I lived right next to the fairgrounds in my home city of New Philly, and actually I lived in Dover at the time, which is the sister city, but that's somewhat irrelevant. However, so I lived right across the fairgrounds where they have like the annual fall fair and all kinds of festivals and stuff like that. I'm going to try to color and talk at the same time. That color is not in the right area. And they always had a demolition derby. Now, if you don't know what a demolition derby is, it is where people take like beat up cars, they remove all the glass and everything, and then they have this big area of just mud, and they ram into each other in these cars, and the contest is whose ever car lasts the longest. It's pretty absurd, but sometimes they would go on for a very long time, and it was usually in the fall time that this fair would happen. I'm sure it still happens. I just haven't been home around that time in a very, very long, in many years. So I'm sure they still have it, but I haven't been there to see it forever. And this time it went pretty late. And I was very, very cold. I remember watching it, and I was really super cold, and I kind of blame it on that I got pneumonia that evening because I was outside and it was freezing. But it was still fun. Still fun regardless. 168. How about we pick a common subject and create artwork irrespective of the medium? That's a fantastic idea for sure. That's probably something that we can do after Inktober's over, and just branch out and do some different things. I think that sounds like a fantastic idea. I've been to many demolition derbies, being in the Midwest. Yeah, the Midwest, you'd certainly see those. Oh, I'm sorry that you have a cough, Kim, and you're welcome, Olga. Can I draw venom with pastels? That's a funny question. That's a funny question. See, I often get comments and questions that ask such things, the question is always something along the lines of, can I draw, paint, blah blah blah, and then it will say a particular subject. In your case, you're asking about Venom, and the truth is, I always take those questions literally, because you're asking if I'm able to do something, and the simple answer is yes. Yes, I can. I am capable of drawing anything I want. I can draw anything that I want in any medium that I use. That is a fact. I have that much experience. But I think what you mean to ask me is if I would be willing to. And I do like Venom. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and when I was reading the comic books as a kid, I always liked the anti-hero better than the hero. Now, Spider-Man is still my all-time favorite superhero, just so you guys know. He's the best. And Venom was always my favorite anti-hero. So I can't guarantee that I will ever draw Venom, but there is a possibility. I won't discount the possibility that I would. It's just that I can't guarantee it. I have a lot of projects that I would love to draw, a lot of subjects that I'd love to draw, especially with pastels. But doing a picture of Venom has not been at the top of any suggestion list for a long time, and I haven't yet seen the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet, and I do want to see it. I just might end up missing it. I'm supposed to watch it several times with my wife, but she hasn't been feeling well, and I think I finally caught a little bit of what she's been struggling to hold back. I do appreciate the suggestion though, but I just can't guarantee that I will draw it. I don't want to see, I'm going this route with this conversation because I don't want to say that I am going to do it and then just not do it. I just want to give you my honest answer. Now the question is, will you work with something like pan pastels? Yeah, I have worked with pan pastels in the past, and I don't have any issues working with pan pastels. It's just that when I've done the live pastel tutorials, I just don't use pan pastels. And actually this question came up a little bit yesterday, because I always try to stay a little bit closer to the budget-friendly version of the art side of things, and that's just for the sake of the people that come across the tutorial. I don't want them to have to buy a whole bunch of supplies, but I'll probably try to incorporate some pan pastels in my work soon, just for the sake of all the people asking about them. I've done a couple tutorials using pan pastels, just not all that often. What am I drawing? Leia, I am drawing a glass of whiskey for today's prompt. A double shot of whiskey. That's what I came up with for today's prompt. Not the most original idea, but I couldn't stop thinking of it because I always hear it in movies. I always hear like some guy going into a bar or something and his wife just left him or something. He lost his job and he asked for a double. So I thought it seemed appropriate for today's prompt. Oh, hello, Gina. Yes, only a few days left of Inktober. My feelings are exhaustion plus joy. Yeah, it's this combination of those feelings there. Because I'm going to miss the daily streams, but at the same time, I'm really excited for them to finally be over, and I can get back to kind of like the normal stuff I do on my channel. I will miss the daily streams, but as you guys know, I'm increasing my streams per week. So in actuality, it's not going to be all that different. It's just that I can have a little bit of a life since I won't have to do the streams every day, and I'll be able to like do things without having to schedule them around my streams, because right now, like, my streams, I kind of have them set, and then anything that comes up in my normal everyday life, I schedule around the stream itself. So it's a little hectic, but I've managed so far. What games do I play? Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't get that. I don't get that question very often. I don't remember ever being asked that, to be honest with you. So I don't play very many video games. I play a lot of chess online. I haven't too much recently, but I actually just played a game like right before the stream. I was waiting for the right time to start the stream, and so I decided to jump on chess.com and play a quick match, and I completely demolished my opponent. It was very pleasing, and then I started streaming. It definitely put me in a good mood for sure. I'm rather competitive, as I've said before. Sometimes I consider myself slightly unhealthily competitive, but I really do enjoy competition, and chess is just one of those mental games that when you crush your opponent, it's so pleasing. So I was rather pleased with how bad I beat my opponent. He lost his queen. Really bad move. And it was pretty much over from there. Fortunately, though, he was a respectful opponent, and he resigned because he knew that he had no chance. It always bothers me when I'm playing somebody in chess and they just keep playing. I could have several queens on the board, and they'd still keep playing. But that doesn't happen too often. I mean, sometimes it happens to me, but I respect my opponents enough to resign. If they're crushing me, I don't go unbeaten, that is for sure. Another game that I play MTG Arena. That's Magic the Gathering, like the computer version. It's a new game. They just came out with the open beta, and it's a lot of fun. You guys know well, most of you guys know that I play a lot of Magic, and I do a lot of deck testing on MTG Arena before I go and play in competitions with my friends. I drew a double shot too. All I could come up with. You know, Pumpkin Spice, that's all I could really come up with. I sat here most of the morning, like I usually do, and I just kept saying the word double over and over again. I was like, double, 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 double. And this was the first idea that popped into my head, and I was like, I never like to go with my first instinctual thought when it comes to the prompt, unless I feel like it's really, really good. So I always try to like play with the word in my mind a little bit to figure out something more interesting. And for this one, I did the best that I could, but I couldn't come up with anything that I felt was all that interesting. So I ended up just doing this, and you know, it's always a fun challenge to do translucent, shiny objects. So I figured it won't hurt to do something interesting like this, something a little difficult or perceived difficult. Really, I just have to follow my shapes and my colors. First found this awesome channel during your Scorched stream. Oh, well, that's awesome, Talia. I'm glad that you think my channel is awesome. It makes me very happy to hear. Oh, hey Chris, good to see you. It's been some time since I saw you in the chat. And Cece, hopefully your day is going well, Cece. Jaguar, good to see you as well. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Misty, Debbie. You don't drink alcohol though, right? I don't drink a lot of alcohol, like not very much at all. My wife and I, we have wine on the weekends sometime, and I've been drinking cider on the weekends as well, but just one. So yeah, other than that, I've never had whiskey before. Yeah, never had whiskey. I'm not much of a fan of drinking, so I do it very minimally, and socially. I'll do a little bit socially if I'm out with friends or something, and everybody's just having a drink. Then I'll have a single drink. I don't think I've ever had like more than one or two at a single time. What about a reflection in a mirror? You would see double depending on the angle you draw the scene. Yeah, you know what? I actually thought of the mirror as well, but I couldn't think of an idea for the mirror itself. I thought, oh, I could draw Nugget next to a mirror and then you'd see Nugget's reflection. But I ended up not going with that idea because I couldn't think of a really good way of portraying it, or anything particular to portray. So instead I went with this, as you can see. I drew a wizard doing multiplication since they don't teach math at Hogwarts. That is hilarious. I never actually thought of that before. They never talk about like the basics in the books or the movies or anything like that, as far as the kids learning. Because if you think about it, they're in school, right? But they're just learning magic stuff. They never talk about, whether or not they're learning math and other common important things. I think that regardless if you're a wizard or not, math is an important thing to know and understand, because it fosters a strong logical thought process, even if you tend to be one of those people that always hated math in school. Despite your disdain for it, it does foster important qualities of the mind. So I never actually thought of the fact that they never talk about having math class or history class or English or anything like that. So it never occurred to me. That's a very interesting idea to come up with. That looks pretty complex. Actually, this is not complex at all. You see, drawing a glass of anything with ice and liquid is very similar to the process that you would take drawing like a diamond or a jewel. You just draw one facet at a time, and those facets, like for instance, you saw how I split this area up here. Those facets are just made up of like random shapes of scattered color, and it doesn't make any logical sense. So when the image is done, you'll see that this will start to look shiny, translucent, and glass-like simply because of these individual facets. And you'll even get a subtle shape of the cup. I promise this is tea and not whiskey. Sorry, my tea was getting cold, and I hate cold tea, unless it's specifically iced tea, which I only drink in the summer. Have I ever played The Legend of Zelda? Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Okay, so when I was growing up, the first game system that I played on was Super Nintendo. I think that was the first. Yeah, it was Super Nintendo, and it was at this kid's grandma's house. His name was Brian. I think his name was Brian, and we were friends like for a brief period of time. I don't really know. I think he moved. I haven't thought of him in like a million years, but we used to play Ninja Turtles. Oh gosh, I loved the Ninja Turtles game. Oh, we would just go right after school and play forever and ever. I loved that game. And then I met my friend Derek, and he had a Super Nintendo, and we used to play this baseball game, and we used to play Star Wars. I remember playing Star Wars, sitting there playing Star Wars with my friend Derek, and it's the same friend that I had mentioned in a previous stream, that he had the box set of VHS Star Wars movies, and that's how I got introduced to Star Wars. And we used to play the video games on the Super Nintendo, and I always remember playing Home Run Derby with the baseball game, and it was yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast. And then I met my friends Jackie and Crystal, and they had Nintendo 64, and they had this cousin Stevie, and we would play. I mean, we played all kinds of games, but I definitely played Zelda. I remember playing Zelda like so much. I was always like really naturally good at playing video games, and so I was always the one that was being asked to like get somebody past a level. I swear every single person in that household has asked me multiple times to get them past like this boss, or get them past like this part in the game where you had to, like, you know, jump on things and have a good rhythm, and just have the right capabilities. But it was always like that. And yeah, I remember playing all those games. My friend Stevie and we would play Mortal Kombat. That was kind of our game that we just played all the time. And he was 8 years older than me, or was he 10 years? No, I think he was 8. I don't think he's 10 years older than me, but we were friends for a really long time, and we would just play Mortal Kombat so much. And Mortal Kombat on the 64, if you played 50 matches, believe it or not, 50 matches in a row, you would then unlock this one-time chance to play old school Pong. If you guys know what Pong is, it's where you have the two white bars. It was on the Atari, two white bars moving up and down, and you just hit a ball back and forth. It was one of the very first video games that was mass produced, and you had to play 50 games in a row, 50 fights on Mortal Kombat, and then you could play Pong. And that was just how much we played the game. But yeah, we definitely played Zelda, Final Fantasy VII, Diablo. Oh, I still remember Diablo. Gosh, I loved that game. Played that game for years, and then came over to computer and played it on the computer for another many years. Oh, hey Lisa. Good to see you. You had a pet chicken named Zelda? That is very appropriate. Yeah, I love the name Zelda. Oh gosh, the 64 games. Oh yes, Mario Kart. Yes. Yep. Mario Kart was fantastic, for sure. I still have a Nintendo 64. Well, sort of. My sister Cece hasn't. I've been kind of kicking around the idea to my wife because she likes video games too. She's played a number of video games. She really liked the Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and Abe's Odd Abe's World, or something Odd and Abe, and it was really weird. But yeah, she's played her fair share of video games as well. And I was talking to her about maybe getting a PlayStation, whatever number they're on. I think they're on like 14 billion. I don't know. I lost track. When I started college in 2014 at the university, I'd already got my associates. But when I started real college, not community college, I had to sell my video games because I knew that it was either graduate from college or play Call of Duty, and the mature part of my brain told me that it was time to move on a little bit from video games, at least for that part of my life, so that I could graduate from college, because college was not easy. Getting your degree in math is very difficult for some people. It was for me, and I'd tell you that it paid off, but the truth is I don't use my math degree at all, as some of you probably have guessed, considering I'm a professional artist. But at least I have something that I can fall back on, you know? Sonic on Sega. Yep, Sega was actually the first video game console that I owned. Yeah, there's this one game on Sega that I can't remember for the life of me that I used to play, and I remember saving up every nickel and dime that I could find in our couch. After every week, I would walk around outside hunting for loose change until I'd save up to buy the next iteration of the game. And I can't remember what the game was. Cannot remember for the life of me. It was you played this character that was made of like just these floating balls that would transform into different like equipment that you would use in the game. Like he could turn into a tank, or he could turn into a flying spaceship, or all kinds of crazy stuff, and I can't remember the name of the game, but I was obsessed with it and I played it incessantly. Mega Man. That's not the name of the game. I know Mega Man. I remember playing Mega Man CC, but the game I'm talking about was not Mega Man. Seeing as you are a math major, can you tell me why it's all the math is different now? My kid's learning Common Core, and there are so many more steps for them to do simple things. Oh my gosh, Vector Man! Oh my goodness, I gotta Google that right now. Oh my gosh, how did I forget that? Oh my gosh, that's it! Oh jeez, Vector Man. Oh gosh, I played that game so much. I played that game like crazy. Oh my goodness, that was the best. That was the best. You have no idea how many years it's been eating away at me. I mean, I never tried to Google it. I never tried to find it, but goodness, the name of that game. Vector Man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I loved that game. I played that game to death when I was stuck in the hospital with pneumonia. Danny, regarding your question about Common Core, Common Core isn't inherently bad. It's probably a bit excessive at the age that they implement Common Core. But the truth is, Common Core is designed to get you to think about math in a more logical way. It seems not necessarily, okay, maybe not, maybe logical is not the right word. The Common Core questions that I've come across have actually been the way that math majors think about math at like the college level. And for instance, I'm trying to think of one in particular. Like say they see a math problem that's like 7 times 14. What Common Core would say you should do, I'm making this up by the way, I don't know what Common Core would say, but the way that I would think about it as a math major is I would remove the 4 from the 14 and I'd multiply the 7 by the 10, and then I'd multiply the 4 by the 7, and then I just add those together. And that's what Common Core is supposed to try to get you to start thinking like. It's supposed to it's supposed to break math up in a way that allows you to do it easier, the way people that do math all the time thinks of math. But I don't think it's a reasonable way to teach it to children. Math is already difficult enough, and I just don't think that most children have those concepts broken up in a way that allows them to learn it the way an adult would learn it. Or not even really the way that an adult would learn it, because in actuality it's more like the way an adult later on realizes it's operating, the math is operating, and they break it up in their own mind as they develop the math skills. I don't know any other countries that are doing the Common Core stuff, and I don't think that it's very viable in the current state. Oh, hey Mache. I will have a few busy work months soon. What do you suggest to do about art? I'm thinking to start a big colored pencil drawing and keep working at it little bits a few times a week. I think that's probably a good option. You know, if you want to do something that you're really proud of, sometimes you just have to do it in steps. Don't be afraid to start it. I think that if you're going to be busy, having a singular project to work on through that time is probably going to be a lot better than trying to manage several, or in other cases starting a new project. So you might just want to keep yourself keep it simple and just have that big project that you can work on, so that you know exactly what you're doing and you don't have to try to be excessively creative during the busy time. So I think that's a good option. I have all these colors scattered about. Trying to keep track of my colors and the colors that I'm using. It's actually rather difficult. Oh, my day is good, Mache. Thank you for asking. Yeah, just I was playing a little bit of Magic Arena this morning, and then I had to stop and get prepared for today's live stream, testing out some fun decks. Believe it or not, this drawing here is actually coming to completion rather soon. Only have a few more areas to fill up, really, and then it will be done. Starting to look like a glass of whiskey, right? Off topic, I noticed you wear your wedding ring on the right hand. In America, it's on the left hand when you are married. Are other countries different? Yes. In Europe, we wear our wedding band on the right hand. So, when in Rome, you know. I've gotten used to it. On my right hand because I have this constant, I guess you can kind of call it a tick, where I do this with my thumb. I just like to feel knowing that I'm wearing it, because I take it off when I do the dishes and stuff like that. It's on the left in the UK as well. Also, I do the same thing with my thumb. Oh, I didn't realize that the UK had it on the left hand. I've even been to the UK a few times, and I didn't recognize. I didn't see anybody's. I didn't notice anybody's wedding band on their left hand. So that's good to know. Well then, let me correct myself by saying that in Poland, at least, yeah, in Poland it's on the right hand. I respect guys that can do the dishes, even more so when they can do them properly. Well, my wife had to teach me a little bit to do the dishes properly. She's very particular, my wife, when it comes to cleaning and just doing anything in general. Very, very particular. Not in a bothersome way, though. I won't lie. In the beginning, it was a little bothersome, because I felt like I couldn't do anything, because she wanted everything done in a very specific way, that made it rather difficult for me to do anything at all. But we got through that stage. She trained me. She trained me well. Oh, hey there, Coffee Cat. Good to see you. Yes, Gina, I did like the song. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Not my usual choice of music. Although, speaking of music choice, I've been listening to what is his name? Gosh darn it, I can't remember it. What the heck is his name? Oh, Post Malone. I've been listening to some of his songs in the past couple weeks, which is very odd for me because that's not my usual choice in music. But it's just something about his music that just seemed oddly satisfying, and so I've been listening to it quite a bit in the past week or so. I showed my wife. I let her listen to one of Post Malone's song, and I was like, "Can you guess what this guy looks like?" And of course she could not, because when you hear his music and then you go Google image what he looks like, you're kind of taken aback, because he doesn't sound like he looks. which isn't a bad thing or anything. It's just a unique thing. It's just unique. There's no other way to describe that. Just unique. Nothing wrong with it. Just different. You and Anna seem to have a healthy balance of power where one doesn't dominate over the other. Oh no, definitely not. Yeah, I really like Anna and I's relationship. We have a very, very easygoing relationship. One of the things that one of the qualities that she has that I really like is that she's very emotionally independent, and I don't mean that she's like closed off and she doesn't express herself. What I mean is that she doesn't need me to make her happy. That's very comforting, because, you know, needy people are annoying. I don't know a better way of saying that. And they're usually really bad in relationships because they smother the other person, or they just annoy them to death. But she's not like that. She's happy to have her space, her alone time, I guess, if you want to describe it as that. And I'm also like that. I need to have that space, that distance every once in a while, and you know, we make each other very happy. One of the things that I enjoy most about our relationship is that even after all these years together, we just make each other laugh at dumb stuff. We just laugh at dumb stuff, and it's so soothing to have somebody that supports you and cares for you, and then can just laugh at dumb stuff. We say goofy things to one another, and we have a good hearty laugh like every day, and it's just wonderful. I'm truly lucky to have found her. Or I should say that she found me, because, well, she found me. I didn't find her. She just stalked me a little bit. That's the truth. My wife, she stalked me. Came over from DeviantArt. I don't know if how familiar all of you are with how my wife and I met, but she found my artwork on DeviantArt first, and she started messaging me when she found my YouTube channel. She messaged me. She gave me some constructive criticism, which is totally a her thing to do. And I thanked her, and she became my star subscriber. And this, I had like 100 subscribers, maybe. I had like no subscribers, but she was dedicated to my channel and to my art before we ever even really started communicating with one another. She would come over to my YouTube channel and like every single video that I posted. She'd come over to my Facebook page, and every single post that I would post, she would like it, and she did that for a few months before we even started having any real communication with one another. And it just evolved from that. Truly, it did. We started talking. I started college at the University of Washington, and I didn't have time for a girlfriend in person with all the things that I was doing, and so she was there. She was there, and we just talked and hung out on Skype, and before we knew it, we just enjoyed being together electronically. You know, we just hung out on Skype, and it felt just as real as any other relationship. And so I told her that, and I was like, you know, I'm not interested in looking for a girlfriend, because I feel the connection with you, and we kind of made it official. And the rest is history. I mean, you guys heard the story. To be honest with you, I never get tired of hearing. I never get tired of telling the story of how my wife and I met, because I love it. I do. And I am glad that we met. Obviously, I should be glad that we met. I mean, that should be obvious, but even after all these years, I don't get tired of telling people the story. Amen. I know some very needy girls, and usually their relationships don't last very long. Not many people are their close friends for long. Yeah. She was trying to catch me. Thank you, Virginia. So stalking your favorite YouTuber might actually lead to something. Yes. I'm not giving out advice on how to get into a relationship with somebody, but it is possible. Yeah. I am almost complete with my glass of whiskey here. I just gotta finish up the ice cubes. And that will be it. And then I have to go do my favorite chore, the dishes, before my wife gets home. Can't let her come home to a sink. Well, it's not full, there's like a plate, but I gotta wipe off the counter too. Gotta make sure the kitchen looks clean, to her standards, not mine. Although it's not even clean to my standards at this point. hope you guys are enjoying today's live stream. Again, I apologize if I seem a little slow today, because like I said, not feeling the best, but oh, thank you, Debbie. Do I have any tutorials on crystal? I do not, but the simple explanation on doing objects like this, or jewels or gems or anything like that, is literally to just work on one facet at a time. It helps you from feeling overwhelmed or anything like that. And if you just focus on one section, do all the shapes and the colors and stuff in that one section, and then move on, it's exactly what I did here. Like, it wasn't difficult at all. I hope that it didn't appear to be too difficult either. It's a beautiful love story, and I love stories, so you can tell the story over and over again, and I will not be tired of listening to it. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you like the story also. I won't ever get tired of the story. It should be turned into a movie. Oh wait, that's right. I kind of already turned it into a movie. That's that. I'm done. I'm done with my glass of whiskey here. Hopefully you guys like the drawing. That's so cool. I haven't tried painting anything quite like that. We'll have to give it a go. Will there be a shadow under the glass too? Oh yes, I can't forget that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not done. Calm down, everybody. I'm not going anywhere. At least for another couple minutes. Is it whiskey or whiskey? I think it has an E in it. I think it has an E. I don't know. They oddly look correct. They both look oddly correct to me. Have I tried the chameleon markers? No, I have not. I have heard of them, never tried them. There, now it looks more complete with the reflection. right? Does that look better? All right, now I am done. I think, yeah, I think that looks good. I'm satisfied with that. I don't want to do much more. Anyways, that is going to be it for today. I appreciate all of you hanging out, coming by. Please give the live stream a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you share your Inktober pieces over in the Unmasked Family Facebook group. I have the link for that in the description. Also, there is only a couple days left of Inktober, but there is also only a couple days left of the drawing competition, or not drawing competition, but the coloring competition. I have a link to that in the description as well for if you want more information, but you only have a couple days left to turn in your colored work. So make sure you do that, and that is going to be it. I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's prompt is jolt, I believe. So something like a jolt of electricity or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys come up with for today's prompt. So please, please, please share your drawings in the Facebook group so that I can share them on tomorrow's stream. And that's gonna be it. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Take care. Peace.